It is about you being your own detective, being your own police, being self-aware of your surroundings, being self-aware of your activities, being self-aware of your relationship. That is where you would find true happiness. That is where you will discover the little tiny things that actually gives you joy. In this age of technology, in this age of social media, it's very easy for us to look at our lives and feel like, why is my life like this? Why am I not happy? It's not that one is not happy all the time, but there's a lot of fluctuations. You are happy this time, and then in the next minute, you are no longer happy. Why? Because either you've gone to social media, you look at somebody's life and you feel like, wow, these people or this family, they've got it all going on well for them. Why can't I have the same? So it's easier for us to get lost in the search for happiness. It's easier for us to look at our lives and feel like nothing is actually giving us deep joy, deep happiness. Today, I had the inspiration to share this powerful message with you, especially if you're someone who is trying to pursue happiness, who is not sure what exactly to do to get the joy that you truly deserve. They said happiness is something you have to create for yourself. It is not what you would expect anybody to give you. Whatever it is that is coming from other people should be a bonus, which means you need to find a way to be happy. You need to create something that will make you happy that is not depending on other people, because you can't afford to put all your happiness in one person. You might get disappointed if they are not there anymore, and you can't afford to keep waiting on people to come around and make you happy. The first thing you need to start doing is self-awareness. In the pursuit of happiness, one thing that is really important is self-awareness. What do we mean by self-awareness? You can't actually be happy if you don't know what makes you happy. You can't actually be happy if you don't continuously do what makes you happy. You can't actually be happy if you don't understand yourself, if you don't know what moment, what environment actually gives you joy. So the first thing you need to start doing in the pursuit of happiness is paying attention to yourself. Paying attention to what you do every day, paying attention to the time your mood lightens up. Happiness, they said, like it's rightly under our noses, but we get too distracted, and it's easy to actually get distracted in this age of social media. We get too distracted because we don't engage more in something that's giving us joy. Instead, we spend our time looking at other people's lives. We spend our time watching other people's lives. And with that, we are distracted by our whole life. We are distracted by the things that give us joy. We are limited by the remaining time for us to do what actually gives us joy. Taking notice means you have to pay attention to what you do that makes you feel energized, to what you do that makes you lose track of time, to what you do that you smile all through. I'll give you an instance. I recently realized that when I am creating, when I am designing on Canva, or if I'm doing journal, if I'm publishing, there's a kind of passion, there's a kind of joy that gives me. I notice that whenever I am creating, for the moment, I totally forget about my sorrows. I totally forget about my worries. Sometimes I don't even want to stand up to get food to eat. Like, I just want to get through it. And it is not something that I am creating because I want to get a financial profit or I want to really make money out of it. It's something that I feel like whenever I'm doing it, there's this joy that comes within me. So it took me a long time to understand that this is also something that gives me joy. So I have to find a way to keep creating. Because when I create, it distracts me from a lot of things that could have eaten me up totally. When I'm creating, my brain is busy working. My brain is busy calculating, how else can I make this beautiful? What else can I add to it? Should I remove it? I need to get this, I need to bring this to life already. So my brain is thinking about so many positive things at the same time. And that is it. Understanding that thing that makes you feel energized, that thing that makes you feel unsettled, that thing that makes you smile. Because when I was creating recently and I saw a design that eventually clicked for me, I smiled. I was like, oh wow, this is good. I can't wait to bring this to life. And that is it. So it is paying attention to little things like that. The second thing to do in the pursuit of happiness is to document these little things. I just cited an example that when I am creating, I feel alive, I feel energized, I feel happy. Now that is one thing. But because I cannot create all the time, I cannot spend my whole day, my whole time creating, it can be eventually tiring, because if I'm not standing up to it, I'll get tired eventually and I might fall sick. So I cannot spend like my whole life just creating journals or creating planners or writing ebooks. I cannot do that, which is why I need to also pay attention to another thing that gives me happiness. So one of the things you would want to do is to document another thing that gives you joy. For me, aside creating, recording videos, editing videos, creating content, there are things that I love to do as well. Going on a walk is one of the things that I love to do. So documenting this thing would make me to always say, okay, today I am not in a very good mood. I am feeling low. I don't know what to do. I'm feeling down. I could easily go back to my inventory. I'll call it inventory of happiness. I can quickly go back to it and just pick one thing and go ahead to do it, because I know that one thing would give me joy. Instead of me going to social media and start looking at other people's lives that might eventually even add to my worries. Well, I'm not saying that everything is totally bad on social media, but I am saying that sometimes away from our phones, away from our social media, could actually lead us back to the joy that we have always desired. And then, by the time we start doing something that gives us joy, we start feeling alive, we start being happy. Eventually, we'll realize that we can align this to other things that we are doing, even things that are very boring. But because we have something else going on for us apart from the boring things, we won't be paying attention to the boring things. Because you could actually have a good life and still feel like you don't have purpose. And that's because you don't want to live a routine life, a life of, oh, you wake up in the morning, you go to work, you come back in the evening, you have dinner, and then you go to bed. You don't want to have such a routine life. It can be very boring. It can be mentally exhausting if you do just one boring thing like every day of your life. Well, your job might actually be interesting, but you don't want to have just that one thing as the only thing you do all through your life. Which is why when you add another thing to it, another thing that makes you feel happy, that makes you feel energized, that makes you feel like a young child again, then that is when your purpose, that is when you start reading meaning to the work you are doing. That is when you start feeling like, yes, there's a purpose in your life. The other thing, which is the number 4 that I will say, is paying attention to what brings you. You know, I've initially mentioned that we need to pay attention to what gives us joy. The same way we do that is the same way we need to pay attention to what drains us. What is it that when you do, you feel sad? Who is it that when you talk to them, they make you feel sad? Where is it that when you go, you feel sad? Paying attention to these things is one of the ways that you can actually pursue true and real happiness, because you can't afford to keep staying in the environment that the only thing it brings to you is sadness. You can't afford to keep relating with the same person that has brought nothing to you but sadness. You can't afford to keep doing the same thing that is draining you. So it's about paying attention to what you're doing that is also draining you. The little happiness that you've got within you, you are allowing another thing to drain it. So paying attention to some of these things could also help you to pursue real happiness. Another one is to be present. Live the moment. Live the moment. You have to be present. If you are doing something that is making you happy, enjoy it to the fullest. Don't create distractions. If you are doing something that you are very passionate about, that is giving you all the joy that you deserve, there's no point creating distraction. If you're talking to someone that naturally brings life to you, that naturally make you happy, there's no point operating your phone in the middle of the discussion and distracting yourself. Encourage yourself to enjoy the moment to the fullest. It's a conscious thing to do, to practice living the moment. Live the moment. If you're playing games with your family or with your friend, try to put all your mind into it, because that is when you start actually noticing that this thing gives you joy. But when your mind is distracted, when you have so many things distracting you around, you might not be able to actually know that that thing gives you joy. And lastly, share with others. Share what gives you happiness with others. I have been doing nature walk. I have been going to the zoo, discovering new things, and none of this I have been keeping to myself. I share with other people, and I don't just share for the sake of, okay, I've been here, I'm there. I share the benefits I am reaping from them. When I went on a nature walk into the forest, I shared how that gives me joy. The green tree, the beautiful flowers here and there, the leveled field, the green field. I shared how those things makes me feel like this is truly fulfilling. So I share these things to encourage other people to just leave their bed and go out there. And sharing some of these things is not just also helping other people, it's giving me joy, because I am inspiring other people. Doing this, recording this video, is one of the things that gives me happiness. I am doing it and I know that somebody is going to benefit from it. That alone also gives me joy. So in a nutshell, finding joy, finding happiness doesn't really have to be something you start searching online, or you start searching, or you start asking questions. It's not something that is too complicated. It is right under your nose. It is about you being your own detective, being your own police, being self-aware of your surroundings, being self-aware of your activities, being self-aware of your relationship. That is where you would find true happiness. That is where you would discover the little tiny things that actually gives you joy. Go ahead and pay attention to yourself. Look at what naturally makes you happy. Look at what naturally fulfills you, and document how you want to do more and more of those things. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next videos. Thank you. Bye bye.